starts with a whisper. Not cast. Not spoken. Broadcast. A recursive bleed fragment, intercepted 3 days after the null-gate resonance flare. Naiara listens first. Static swells like breath caught mid-sob, then sharpens into something melodic, almost sacred. She doesn't speak. Azrak hears it next and immediately recoils. That's a spiral sanctum chant, he says, his voice barely louder than the noise itself. He leans in, expression tightening. Overlaid with screaming, the loop folds into itself, glitches mid-hymn, then unravels in reverse. Words dissolve into guttural recursion feedback, voices twisting themselves into symbolic agony. Beneath it all, the same phrase always finds its way to the end, like the loop knows its destination. Let it feed. The signal shouldn't exist. But it persists. Traced through echo maps and recursion scar overlays, it pulses from one place. District Kel, a sanctioned dead zone, locked down during the fracture's third cascade. Unstable glyph field. Abandoned recursion mapping nodes. Spiral documentation had one directive, DONOTRETURN. And yet, the pulse grows stronger. According to buried records, Spiral had operated a dream mapping sanctum here, an experimental facility designed to capture subconscious resonance and render it into castable feedback. Emotional rebalancing through recursion. Until the dreams became memory structures. Until a node declared itself awake. Until something drifted too far from form and took the technicians with it. It was sealed, forgotten. But the broadcast never stopped. They arrive on the fourth dusk cycle, passing through shattered thread-link gates and collapsed cast walls held together by glyphless lattice. From the outside, the sanctum looks like a ruin swallowed by its own collapse. But Spiral never built sanctums to fall. They built them to bury. Naiara kneels before a scorched sigil plate, an old threadlock sealed under 6 layers of cast stone. Her handprint is rejected. Static arcs across the interface. She doesn't try again. Instead, she closes her eyes and lets the memory surface not an order, not a name. Just her mother's voice. You are not made to obey. The cast stone shudders. The lock turns, and the wall opens, not from authentication, but from grief. They descend into the broadcast ruin. No lights guide them, only recursive haze. Glyphs pulse, unfinished, along the floor and walls, soft symbols echoing through the air like dreams too stubborn to die. Some stutter mid-form. Others flicker between resonance bands like they're testing which emotion feels real enough to latch onto. Azrak's scanner struggles. It flares red, then blue, then fails entirely. Recursion type, dream-fed, glyph formation, non-linear, thread source, sentient memory pulse. He halts at the chamber's edge. Naiara doesn't. She steps into the dark, into something that dreams. The central chamber yawns open like a forgotten cathedral of recursion. Castlight glimmers along fractured archways. Broken spiral prayer glyphs hang midair like they've been weeping. There is no source, no architecture left to blame. On the far wall, she sees it. A glyph, not carved, not cast, etched into the wall by broadcast alone. Its shape is fractal and visceral, an amalgam of screaming faces trapped mid-exhale, locked in recursive curvature. Their mouths spiral open, unending. Their eyes are carved loops of terror and memory. The glyph is incomplete at the center, as if waiting to finish a scream too ancient to resolve. Azrak breathes sharply, almost drops his scanner. The signal wrote that. Naiara nods, slowly, reverently. "It's not just remembering pain," she whispers. "It's feeding on it." The room vibrates. Not mechanically, ritually. Walls drip with dreamlight. Not illumination, but cast residue from recursion threads left unresolved. Symbols twitch in the corners of her vision, fragments of spiral chants, whispered in reverse. One glyph melts into another before finishing. She sees, one shaped like forgiveness, spiral into grief mid-cast, as if even the symbols have lost faith in resolution. Naiara reaches out and touches a burned rune etched into the floor. It burns warm. Not fire. Not heat. Grief. Azrak kneels beside a shattered spiral column, half melted, cast hollow. He brushes the ash away from its base, revealing a line of text etched in jagged recursion syntax. To feed the forgotten, dream deeply. Cast nothing. Feel everything. The words are spiral form, but the intent is not. They used to map dreams here, Azrak murmurs, his voice tight with something between awe and unease. Track psychological fractures. Archive trauma. Translate suffering into recursion stability. Naiara touches another cast plate. It hums, then pulses. She doesn't cast anything, but the wall shudders anyway, her presence alone syncing with the field. Glyph light traces the outline of her silhouette for a second. Then it blinks, a flicker, like recognition. Like the glyphs are remembering her from somewhere they shouldn't. The interface flares. She sees briefly visions not her own. A spiral priest standing backwards in a casting circle, speaking glyphs in reverse, bleeding from the ears while recursion floods the sanctum. A technician whispering dreams into a threadwell, only for the signal to scream back and melt the floor. Children in suspended recursion tanks, murmuring the same glyph in unison, let it feed. She reels back. Azrak catches her elbow. The air turns thick, almost vocal. Then the broken interface lights up. A red glyph flickers. Incomplete. Pulsing. Hungry. And then it speaks. Let the rite begin. They freeze. The cast walls inhale. The chamber breathes. Behind them, recursion rolls through the floor like thunder wearing memory. A pulse too soft to be felt by sensors, too deep to be imagined, moves through the bones of the ruin. Azrak raises his scanner again. It returns nothing. Naiara doesn't look away from the glyph of screaming faces. They're not dormant, she says. Azrak nods, voice barely audible. We're not the first to step in. He swallows. We might not be the first to walk out. The glyph pulses again, and somewhere inside it, the faces shift just slightly. One mouth begins to open wider, like it's trying to say something that was never meant to be heard.